It's difficult to do nearly anything on social media without seeing the words fake news. But what does this really mean, and how does it affect us? Fake news has likely been around since the inception of news media itself. In fact, in an 1807 letter to John Norvell, Thomas Jefferson was cited as saying, "Nothing can now be believed which is seen in a newspaper," indicating that, at that time, news media's representation of the truth could very well be similar to how we see ours today. But why does this hurt us? The problematic nature of fake news and clickbait is not its misleading titles or lackluster content, but rather the intentional mental manipulation of the reader. JSTOR Daily author Chi Lu states that clickbait exploits what's known as the curiosity gap, with just enough information provided to anticipate what the story might be about, which entices readers to click on the link to find out more. According to a 2015 study by researchers Blom and Hansen, one of the ways this is done is very simply through forward referencing to lure in readers. Forward referencing is the use of undefined words such as pronouns which invoke curiosity in the reader. Backgate 2018 also declares that fake news is inherently emotional in nature and its purpose is to upset, annoy, or scare the public. And Schaffer 1995 states that it's the use of content-rich vocabulary or through words with evoking, powerful, often emotional connotations. So the primary tactic used by fake news and clickbait authors is the use of linguistic devices in order to manipulate the mentality of the reader and the reader's attitude toward the subject of the headline, which encourages potential readers to click. So which linguistic devices are used? The Schaffer 1995 study took 212 different tabloid news articles and examined their headlines, finding several different tactics used to yield different results. Namely, labels of primary potency, first name or nickname use only, pseudo-quotation use, and the use of poetic or literary devices. Labels of primary potency are when adjectives preceding a noun are used to overshadow the noun and place a focus on the adjective as the subject of the story. First name or nickname use only, as well as pseudo-quotation use, are used to generate feelings of familiarity within the reader toward the subject, and poetic and literary devices are used to create catchy metalinguistic headlines, which are less concerned with the content of the headline and more with the way it sounds or makes the reader feel. All of these tactics are used to manipulate a person to convince them to read when they may not originally have read it had these tactics not been used. Backgate 2018 also suggests that the nature of the facts is crucial, stating that in order to spread, fake news must consist of an informative story that seems plausible but contains little data, as this could be quickly and easily verified and thereby discredit the news item in question. The consequences of fake news' dissemination through clickbait range from moderate to severe. Conservatively, tabloids and fake news market themselves as providing entertainment rather than facts, so why should they be judged any differently? The problem exists in the generation and spreading of misinformation. To consider real-life consequences, Backgate 2018 cites that fake news has blocked product sales and bankrupted companies in the food sector, and also recalls mass panic in Europe during the 70s and 80s after the distribution of pamphlets concerning alleged carcinogens in food, one of which was citric acid. Bourgogne, Schneider, and Rem 2017 also described the harmful effects of clickbait and fake news in terms of the political sphere, concerned with its role in the 2016 US presidential election, as well as its role in rumors around the Affordable Care Act. While a line can be drawn between entertainment tabloids and the deliberate spread of misinformation, this line is thin and unclear, and the motivation behind both is the same. A knowledgeable reader would be careful to consider the language used within headlines, and using identification of linguistic devices, be able to discern whether the article is vying for attention based on the merit of the content, or if it is solely based on the headline. If the latter is more likely, one should acknowledge that the content is likely mundane and inconsequential, as cited in Schaffer 1995, and being sensationalized based on the context of the lack of exciting or relevant news of recent events. The importance in denying the spread of this misinformation can be seen on a large scale with the examples from earlier, but on a smaller scale with daily actions seen on social media, such as the spreading of ideals with no scientific backing, such as vaccines cause autism. Knowledgeable spreading of information and identification of malicious sources of news can reduce the spread of misinformation.